चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back. We are continuing with 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita. We are looking at salient features from the commentary of Sripad Ramanujacharya. I'm focusing only on that part which is different than what we have already studied from Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. So I'm going to go over the verses. I'm going over the verses slightly quickly. That means some points which are already covered and which we have read, I'm not emphasizing that because we kind of already know that. Only the places where the presentation is slightly different, I'm only going to present that part. So that's how we have been doing. So we are at 10th chapter and we have already done 26 verses. So today we are going to start with verse number 27. But before that, as usual, we will start with the summary verse of Srimad Yamunacharya in his Gita Sangraha, where he summarizes every chapter. So have a look at the summary for the 10th chapter. Okay, Swakalyana Guna Nantya Kritsna Swadhinata Madihi Bhakti Rutpatye Vivridyartha Vistirna Dashamodita. Very beautiful summary again. Swakalyana Guna. So what is Krishna going to doing in the 10th chapter? He is going to talk about his Swakalyana Guna. Kalyana Guna means Kalyana means auspicious qualities. Kalyana Guna, Anantya. And Krishna Swadhinata Matihi. He is also going to talk about how everything is subservient to him. Everything in the universe is subservient to him. These are the two things he is going to speak in the 10th chapter. If you ask the question, why is he speaking this? Because any knowledge must have a prayojana, right? So why is he speaking? Then the answer Yamunacharya says is Bhakti Rutpatti Vivridyartha. Because by hearing the Lord's qualities as well as hearing how the Lord is having everything under his subservience, our Bhakti Utpatti, we will desire to perform devotional service unto him. And also Vivridyartha. That means not only our bhakti will be created in our heart by hearing Gita, but also it will start increasing. And that is the purpose of the 10th chapter. This is a very, very beautiful summary. Okay, so we have already done several of these verses, so I'm going ahead very quickly on these. So we have done till verse number 27. So the point is, so in verse number 20, that was a very important verse actually, where Krishna says that Ahamatma Gudakesha. It's a very significant verse. We just because this one. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Shayastitaha. Where Krishna is saying that I am the Atma. I am the Atma as in I am Paramatma, he's saying basically here. So he's saying that I am the Paramatma in the heart of every living entity. And that is how I control everyone. Okay, so the theme in this part, the way Krishna presents in this chapter is when Krishna says, for example, among all the devatas, Indra or any of these things, then what we need to understand is, so what does it mean by saying Krishna is Indra? So the answer is, Krishna is the Paramatma in the heart of Indra, and Indra himself is, Indra's body, capabilities, everything is subservient to that Paramatma, and it is only due to that Paramatma's grace that Indra is able to do whatever he is doing. So when we see Indra, for an example, doing whatever he does, we should be reminded of the Paramatma, who is actually the controller, giving him all the power to do whatever he's doing. Okay, so this is how we are going to see, this is how the entire 10th chapter is to be seen. Right, when Krishna says, for example, among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. What does it mean that he's Arjuna? Again, he is the Paramatma in the heart of Arjuna, and it is only because of him that Arjuna is able to do all these miraculous things. And we see that also in the Bhagavatam, for example, in the first canto, chapter 14 or 15, when Arjuna comes back from Dwaraka, he tells Maharaj Yudhishthir that the Dhanusha is the same, I am the same person, but because Krishna is now gone, all that power is now gone. The power which even amazed the Devatas is no longer with me. Okay, so this is what we understand. This is how we read the 10th chapter. So whenever Krishna says, I'm Arjuna, I'm Indra, I'm Ucheshrava, whatever, what it means is he's the Paramatma, he's controlling, he is giving that capability to that entity. Okay, and when that entity is, so what Krishna does is, so because Arjuna is asking in the 10th chapter, text number 17, that please tell me about your opulences. I want to hear about how can I see you in various forms and remember you always. So what Krishna does is he takes several categories, and in every category, the best he takes and he says, I am that. So when the best is Krishna, it means everything else is obviously subservient to Krishna. Right? If Krishna is Arjuna, then Krishna is automatically Nakul, Sahadev, Bhim, Yudhishthira, everyone. Okay, so the best in every class, Krishna basically takes and says that I am the Paramatma controlling his heart, and I am inspiring him to do whatever he does. So this is the entire theme. Right, so now what I'm going to do is we are going to go over these verses from 27. We'll be going a bit quickly because several of them would not need too much explanation, but some parts the explanation is very wonderful. So I'll focus only on that part. Right, so there will be a lot of reading of text, but I will pause whenever we need to explain. Uchchaishrava Shravanam Ashwanam Viddhimam Amrithodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranam cha Naradipam. Among the horses, understand me to be Uchchaishrava, which manifested from the ocean while it was being churned for nectar. Among the lordly elephants guarding the quarters, I am Airavata, the mount of Indra, who too came from the ocean when it was churned. Among men, I am their king. Okay, so this is to be understood in the same way that we have explained. Among the horses, the best horse is Uchchaishrava, which came from that churning. So Krishna is saying that I am the Paramatma in the heart, and I have only given all the capabilities to this Uchchaishrava. So when you see Uchchaishrava doing something amazing, you need to understand that it is all because of me only. So that is his vibhuti, his power. So the whole 10th chapter is about seeing Krishna in everything, correct? And similarly, then he says the three examples only here. And Airavatam Gajendrana. So among all the lordly elephants. So lordly elephants means Gaja Indra. Lordly elephants means those elephants which are very powerful in the universe. Okay, like for example, there are elephants which are said to hold the Bhudevi, Bhumi upwards and so on. So there are very special elephants in the universe. Okay, among all of them, I am Airavata, he says, which is even superior in that class. And among ordinary people, I'm the king, because the king is very special. He's the person who is powerful, etc. Right. So there's nothing, there's not more in this context. So we'll just go ahead a little quickly. Ayudana maham vajram denukam asmi kamadukam prajashna chasmi. Yeah. Prajasnam chasmi kandarpa sarpanam asmi vasuki. Among the weapons, I am Vajrayudha, the thunderbolt, which was made from the bones of Dadichi. Among the cows which give milk, I am Kamadhenu. I am Cupid, which is the cause of progeny, and I am Vasuki among the single-headed serpents. So again, there is nothing more to be said in this. The interpretation of all this is same as we said. Among all the weapons, this thunderbolt was considered most special because from Dadichi Muni's bones it was literally made. And among the cows, again, Kamadhenu is very special. We see Vashishta having Kamadhenu, and we see what all that Kamadhenu could achieve, because of which Vishwamitra was amazed by seeing the power of this cow. So it's the most special cow. And Krishna is saying that I am that. He is the Paramatma. He is the one giving power to the Kamadhenu to do whatever he is doing. And there are so many causes of progeny, but Cupid is the topmost cause. He's saying I'm that. And among single-headed serpents, I'm Vasuki. So why single-headed? So Sarpa means single-headed serpent, and Naga means multi-headed serpent. So later it will come that among the multi-headed serpents, I'm Ananta. So that is the difference. Yeah, so that's the next verse actually, 29. Anantas chasmi naganam varuno yadasam aham pitranam aryam Aryama Chasmi Yama Sanyamatam Aham. Of the multi-headed serpents, I am Ananta. I am Varuna among the aquatic creatures. Among the Pitris, I am their king Aryama. Among the dispensers of punishment, I am Yama, who is the greatest among those who award punishment. So again, if you see very clearly here, the topmost in every category has been said. And this is how this is. So we see this in Ramayana also, like Ram, he approaches Varuna Dev only because he is the lord of all the aquatic creatures. Correct. So he's asking Varuna Dev for that help, and that is how they build the bridge and so on. Okay. So these are all the best among the categories. Yeah. 30th verse. Prahladas chasmi daityanam kala kalayatam aham mriganam cha mrigendroham vainatesha cha pakshina. Among the Daityas, I am Prahlad. Among those who think ill to others, I am Kala. Among the animals, I am Lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. So here only two things will need some explanation. One is where Krishna says, among those, so Kalayatam, he translates here as among those who think ill to others. The idea being that Kala, generally Kala, this word Kala means something when something untoward happens in our life, we say Kal acha nahi chal raha hai, Kala. So this word Kala is generally used in a not in a positive sense. That means when something is wonderful is happening, we don't use the word Kala. The word Kala is used whenever so that's the point here. So Kala means something which is going to bring about death. So here Ramanuja says that Kala is a devata. He's an assistant of Yamaraj, who is being referred to here. And among all those who can think ill of others, Kalayatam, this Kala is the topmost guy because he's going to bring the news of death. Okay, so he's the assistant of Yamaraj, and he says that he's the person who thinks ill as in a superlative degree. So that is why Krishna says he's that. Among birds, he says, I am Garuda. So here Ramanuja has given a very beautiful commentary. He says, that why he says that in temples, if you go, and especially in South India temples, you will see that there is Garuda, opposite Lord, right? Always there is Garuda Stambha. Like in our temple also, opposite Balaji, we have Garuda. So the question he says is, why is Garuda there? So he says Garuda is there because Garuda, there are verses in our Shastras which say that Garuda's flapping of the wings create the sound of Samaveda. Okay, so when Garuda flies, and that flapping produces the vibration of Samaveda. That is the greatness of Garuda. So it is said that in some way, Garuda embodies the Vedas. And since Krishna is known by the Vedas become like a mirror to Krishna. And consequently, Garuda becomes like a mirror. So he says that is the reason Garuda is there in traditional temples opposite Vishnu, because he embodies the Vedas. And from the Vedas, Krishna is to be understood. So Garuda basically becomes like a mirror where people can, where the Lord, when he sees Garuda, he sees himself in him, in Garuda, because he personifies the Vedas. So this is how he explains here. And we all know he's the king of, among all the birds, he's the topmost. Pakshinam aham vainateya. Next verse 31. Pavana pavatam asmi Rama shastrabratam aham jashana makarascha asmi srotasam asmi janavi. Among all entities which keep moving by nature. So pavatam means, he defines here pavatam as something that keeps moving. Okay. Prabhupada translates that as of all that purifies. So this is a slightly different translation, but anyway. So he says, Pavana means the wind is always moving, and so many things move. The water moves, everything moves, but the thing that can move the fastest is said to be the wind. So that is why he says, Krishna says, he's the wind. Rama Shastrabrata Maham. Now here there is a very interesting commentary. Till now, the entire presentation of Krishna in the 10th chapter was that I am the Paramatma in the heart of this person, correct? Like when Krishna says that I am, like we saw, I am Uchcheshrava. What does that mean? He is the Paramatma in the heart of Uchcheshrava. So that is the meaning. But when Krishna says here, Rama Shastrabrata Maham, then what does that mean? Does he mean he is the Paramatma in the heart of Rama? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because Rama is again the Supreme Lord only. So, because till now, what was the meaning? the Lord is not only the Paramatma, but he's controlling that person, correct? Like he's controlling the horse, he's controlling Arjuna, he is giving the power. So we cannot use that meaning that the Lord is as Paramatma, he's controlling Rama. We cannot do that because Ram himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is a different meaning is given here. He says when Krishna says Rama Shastra Bhritambaram, so first thing he says Shastra. This word Shastra, there are two words in Sanskrit. One is Astra and one is Shastra. Astra means he says something that is thrown, like a spear is thrown, right? Like a spear is thrown. So that is called as Astra. But something that is held in one's hand is called Shastra. Like a sword is Shastra, the bow is Shastra. Okay, so that is the difference between Astra and Shastra. So here the meaning is not that Lord is controlling Rama as the Paramatma or something. What it means is among all those who have Shastras, that quality of holding weapons, among all those who can hold weapons and stand, the topmost is Rama. And he's saying, I am that. That means, so here Krishna is referring to that ability of mastery over weapons when he takes. Okay, and in that context, he's saying, I'm Rama. Here we cannot take the other meaning that he's controlling Rama or something, because Rama is the Supreme Lord as much as Krishna. So that meaning he doesn't give over here. So there's a very different interpretation. I think I have to mute everyone so that there's no disturbance. Yeah, thank you. Then he says, among all the aquatics, I am the shark. Okay, so that is understandable. And among all the rivers, I am the river Ganga, which is again fair enough, right? Because that's the topmost. Why Ganga is considered the topmost river, he says, Ramanuja says, because Ganga flows in multiple planetary systems. It's not only there in our planet. In the heavenly planet, it flows. It has a different name. In the Patala Loka, it flows. It has a different name over there. But it is the same river. Right? Mandakini, Bhogavati. There are several names to Ganga in terms of different planetary systems where it actually flows. And that same Ganga was brought to this earth, right, by Janu Maharshi. And it became Jahnavi in this world. But the river primarily is there throughout the universe in different planetary systems. That is why it is very special. That is why it is the topmost among the rivers. And Krishna is saying that he is again the Paramatma and the controller and giving all the power to Mother Ganga. So, like that, we have to see this verse. Yeah. Sarganam Adir Antascha Madhyam Chaivaham Arjuna Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana Vada Pravadata Maham. Okay, so here again some explanation is needed. I'll just read the translation first here. Of all the entities which undergo creation, whoever is known to be their creators at all times is me only. Whoever is known to be their destroyers at all times is me only. Whoever is known to be their sustainer at all times is me only. Among all branches of knowledge and the science of Vedanta, which deals with the knowledge of Atma and Paramatma, among the different types of debates, Jalpa, Vitanda, etc., and Vada, which is open-minded discussion between unbiased participants aimed at establishing the. So here 3 points are said. The first thing the Lord is saying that he is the nimitta karana of everything. So when Krishna says here, Adi Madhya Anta, when Krishna says Adi Madhya Anta, what does it mean by Adi Madhya Anta? That means he is the nimitta karana for everything. Because in this world, when something is to be created, there is some creator, correct? Like a child is created by the parents or anything like that. And something is maintained by the parents, by the teacher or whoever, and something is destroyed by somebody. So all these people who are creating, maintaining, and destroying, they are able to do that. They are nimitta karana, right? Nimitta karana means like a pot has two karana. This is Vedanta actually. Anything created as upadan karan and nimitta karan. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 5, Prabhupada talks about this in that purport, but I'm just summarizing this here. In the context of Advaita Acharya, Prabhupada writes actually, Advaita Acharya Nityananda, those chapters, Adi Leela. Upadan Karan means the material stuff who provides that. Like for example, if a pot has to be made, you need the ingredients to make the pot. That is Upadan. And there has to be the potter who actually makes the pot. Okay, he becomes the Nimitta Karana. The potter becomes the Nimitta Karana, and the material ingredients become the Upadan Karana, like that. So in this verse, Krishna is basically saying that he is the Nimitta Karana of everything, of creation, maintenance, destruction. Basically, he is the Paramatma in the heart of the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. And it is only by his will, his sanction, that somebody is able to do any of these things. So that is what Krishna is saying here. So that part is understandable. And among all Vidyas, he is saying is Adhyatma Vidya. Why? Because that is the topmost Vidya again. Because in Adhyatma Vidya, the Supreme Lord is the object of knowledge, and the Prayojana of Adhyatma Vidya is to take you back to Godhead. So it becomes the topmost Vidya, and so he's saying, I am that Vidya also. And the last part in this verse is Pravadatam Aham Vadaha. Pravadatam means, see, there are in Sanskrit, there are several types of debates. Among them, three are very popular. One is called Vada, one is called Vitanda, and one is called Jalpa. There is a slight difference between them. Vada means where two or more people are trying to converse in such a way that they genuinely want to understand the truth. That means we can call it a constructive debate. It's called Vada. When two people are sitting and they may be apparently debating, but both of them have a very clear goal that we are sitting here and talking so that we can come to the right kind of conclusion. So between husband and wife also you can have Vada, where, for example, we may differ, we may keep conversing with each other, but with a very open mind that I want to understand what is the right thing to do. So let's sit and talk it out, no problem. So it may appear like a debate between parents and children or the spouses or anybody, but Vada means that is the goal. So that is considered the most refined and the highest type of debate. There are some other types of debate. One is called as Jalpa. Jalpa means the goal is only to defeat another. Okay, that means what I am saying is correct and the other person, what he's saying is wrong. Matter over. So there is you, that means you come with a preconceived notion that the other person is wrong only. I am only correct. Then that is called as Jalpa, such a talk. And Vitanda means you're not even interested to say your perspective. You only want to show how the other person is wrong. So that is Vitanda. So in Jalpa, at least you try to show that how you are correct and the other person is wrong. But in Vitanda, you only want to show other person is wrong. You don't even want to say what your perspective is. So sometimes in our parliamentary democracy, if you see these discussions going on, so sometimes it happens that we see all types of things. Sometimes there has been Vada as well, but unfortunately, many times it is either Vitanda or Jalpa, where so that is cheating kind of argumentation like that. So Krishna is saying that among all these, the topmost is Vada, and Krishna is saying that I am that. Okay, so whenever Vada is happening, because there is a desire to come to the right understanding, the point is Krishna says that I am present in that. Okay, so please try to understand in this entire chapter, Krishna is not only like a Paramatma, he is also Kriya. That means these are all Kriya only, right? Vada is a Kriya, that means you are sitting and debating. So in the Kriya also the Lord is present. It is not only that he is present as a Paramatma in humans or in some lion or like Krishna has already said, he's a Garuda. No, not only that, but even in the right kind of verbs, Krishna is present. So that is the lesson from this particular verse. Going ahead, Aksharana Makarosmi Dvandva Samasikaya Cha Aham Evakshaya Kalo Dhataham Vishwato Mukam. Of all the letters, I am the alphabet A, which is the source of all the words. Among the word compounds of different kinds, I am Dvandva, dual compound in which both the constituent terms are important. I am the imperishable time. I am Data Hiranyagarbha Brahma, who is the creator of everything with the cosmic shell, who has four faces, one in each direction. Okay, so two things here will need some explanation. First is, of course, we know that why Krishna is saying that he is A. One is we all know in the Pranava Omkara, the first syllable A that represents the Supreme Lord. Correct? Why it represents the Supreme Lord? Since it is said, this is the A is the Akshara which is maximum found. Okay, maximum found in any conversation. Correct? Like we all know, like if you have any time played a game called Scrabble, where people try to make many words, A is the word which is most often sought. right? Because you need this word, this letter to make these words. So since it is the most important letter in the alphabet, Krishna is saying that he is that. And in fact, it is said that one of the name of the Lord is If you just say that is considered the name of the Lord. That is why in the Pranava there is in the middle. The next thing is Samasika. Samasika means actually compound words. Among compound words, Krishna says is Dvandva Samasa. So here there is some technical thing to be understood. There are several types of samas in Sanskrit. I'm just reading 3 or 4 of them. One type of samas is called Avyabhavi samas. In Avyabhavi samas means what? Dual word. Dual word. Like two words together meaning one thing is called as samasa. Like suppose for example we say Raja Sevaka. So Raja Sevaka is a samasa. That means you're not saying Raja, you're not saying Sevaka. Raja Sevaka. It's a samasa. But Raja Sevaka is Tatpurusha Samasa. Tatpurusha Samasa means in Raja Sevaka, which word is more important? Sevaka is more important, right? Because you're not talking about king. You're talking about the Sevakatva. So when you say Raja Sevaka, it is a Samasa, but the second word is most important. Okay, so that is called Tatpurusha Samasa, where the second word is more important. There is another samasa called Bahuvrihi Samasa. Bahuvrihi Samasa means, for example, Pundarika Akshana. Pundarika Aksha. So Pundarika and Aksha. That means you want to say someone's eyes are like lotus. But in Pundarika Aksha, if you ask which word is more important, then the answer is neither. Because actually we are referring to a third person whom we want to say has lotus like eyes. Okay, that means both those words are not here the main point under discussion. We are discussing about a third entity only who is not there in these two words. So that is one type of samasa. Another type of samasa is called avyabhavi samasa, where the first word is more important. Like they say yata shakti. When you say yata shakti, the most important thing in this yata shakti is that yatha. That means yata shakti. We say na right, like yata shakti. That means as much as my capability goes. So that as much as which is in that yatha, in yata shakti, that yatha becomes more important in that. Okay, so these are different types of samasa, but the Dvandva samasa has a very interesting characteristic. Like in the Ramayana, it will come that Rama Lakshmana. So Rama Lakshmana is a Dvandva samasa. Here, if you ask which word is more important, the answer is both words are equally important. So that is why among all the samasa, this samasa in Sanskrit grammar is considered the most superior. Because in all the other samasas, either the first word is important or second word is important or neither is important. Like we saw those examples. Like in Raja Sevaka, the second word is important. In Pundarika Aksha, neither is important. You're talking about a third person. Yata Shakti, the first word is important. But Rama Lakshmana, when you say, it is Dvandva Samasa. And Krishna is saying here in the Gita that I am Dvandva Samasa, where both words are equally important. So that's considered topmost in that grammar. Okay? And that represents Krishna. I am the imperishable time and I am Brahma. So that part is again, is basically the Paramatma in the heart of all these people. Like the Brahmaji and so on. Let's go ahead. Mrityu sarva haraschaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirti shri vakcha narinam smritir meda dhritir kshama. Okay, so this is 34th verse. I am Mrityu who snatches away the lives of all beings, of all entities that will be created. I am the dharma of getting created. Among all women, I am Sri, the goddess presiding over prosperity. I am Kirti, goddess presiding over glory. I am Vak, presiding over speech. I am Smriti, the goddess who presides over memory. I am Meda, goddess who presides over intelligence. I am Dhriti, goddess who presides over steadfastness. I am Kshama, the goddess who presides over forbearance. So here again, some of these commentaries slightly different than what we have earlier read. So I'll just elaborate this a bit. So first thing is Mrityu Harva Sarva Harascha. Sarva Hara means taking everything away. If you ask, among all those who take everything away from someone, who is the topmost who takes everything away? The answer is Mrityu. Because death takes everything away, literally takes everything away. Nobody, even the government or even a thief, cannot say that he will take everything away. Nobody can take everything away except Mrityu. Okay, so since it is the topmost, Krishna is saying that I am that. And here also Ramanuja says Mrityu is a person. Mrityu is also considered a servant of Yama. Yama is said to have two servants. One servant is Kala and one is Mrityu. These are all names of people as well, it seems, who are servants of Yama. But anyway, here the understanding is he is the Paramatma in the heart of that Mrityu, and he only reminds him that come on, go and take this person and come. So Krishna is that. Okay, having said that, the next one. Okay, so the next one is easy. So next one is the Kriya again. That means among all things that get created, he is basically Udbhava. Udbhava means the Kriya of being born. Okay, that Utpatti. That's a Kriya, right? It's a verb. And that Kriya, Krishna says, is me. So in certain Kriya also, you will see Krishna saying how he stands over there. Okay, so he's present in that Kriya also. Okay, now the second part of this verse, Prabhupada translates that as I am woman, I am all these qualities. So Prabhupada talks about fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, patience, all these qualities that we're reading here from Ramanuja. But Prabhupada says these as qualities. Now what he does over here is, Ramanuja, he says that these are all various ladies also. That means these are all personifications. So Sri means who? Sri is Mahalakshmi. Okay, so here he takes the interpretation that among all the women, I am Sri means these 7 women are there who are all goddesses. So there is Sri, there is Kirti, the goddess of glory, there is Vak Devi, the goddess of speech, right? There is Smriti, the goddess of memory. There is Medha. Medha and Smriti, there is a difference. Medha means, so externally it may mean intelligence, but Medha means you are able to innovate something. She is the goddess for that. Smriti means the goddess who can give memory. That means who helps you recall things from the past. Dhriti means steadfastness, and Kshama means tolerance or forbearance. So Prabhupada sees all these as qualities of woman, but Ramanuja, he gives a slightly different explanation. He says that among women, these are 7 women who are very, very special. And I am all of that. So we can see both meanings to be right in a way. Okay, so Krishna is saying that I am the Antaryami of all these 7 top women. Okay, all these goddesses, even they have me only in their heart. So then what to speak of all the other ordinary women? I'm obviously controlling them. I only inspire them to do whatever they are doing. Ramanuja, one thing he says that in the second line here, Sri comes after Kirti. So he says actually Sri should be first before Kirti. But he says that the verse says that if you put Sri first and Kirti later, the Chandas doesn't become so proper. That is why Sri is put second after Kirti. So that is one explanation, which is again very interesting. Moving ahead. Brihat Sama Tata Samnam Gayatri Chandasamaham Masanam Margasishoham Ritunam Kusumakha. 35th verse. So among the Sama Veda, I am Brihat Sama, he says. Now, what does it mean, Brihat Sama? So this needs some explanation. So he says here, so actually Sama literally means notes. Like music has notes, right? So Sama actually means notes, like Alap, like Sari, Gama, that is called Sama. So Sama originally has only notes. And Rig Veda, Rig is basically Sahitya. That means it has all the text. So when we say Sama Veda, what happens is they apply those music notes to those Sahitya of Rig Veda. And they will sing the verses of the Rig Veda in different meters. So apparently it seems that in Sama there are several musical notations given. One is called Brihad, one is called Raivata, several are there. But it is said among all those notes, this Brihat Sama is the most amazing and topmost of all. So it's a musical note, please remember. And Krishna is saying, I'm that, because first of all, among all the Vedas, he had already said, I'm Sama Veda, if you remember previously. Because Sama Veda has 1,000 branches. Other Vedas have 13, 20 like that. Sama Veda has 1,000 branches. So and also it's music. Music is anytime superior to textual recitation of something. And now in the Sama Veda, there are different Samas. That means there are different musical notations. Brihat Sama is the topmost musical notation. If somebody gets an opportunity to hear Sama Veda, please do that. It's very nice to hear. I've had the opportunity to sometimes to hear it. It's very sweet to hear recitation of Samaveda. And it is Krishna himself as the singer. Okay, then among chandas, chandas means there are different chandas, right, in Sanskrit. For example, Gita is an Anushtup chanda. Anushtup chanda means there are 8 syllables in one line. For example, this verse only, if you see, Brihat Sama Tha Ta Sam Nam. So if you see the first, like there are 4 lines na, in this verse. So the first line is Brihat Sama Tata Samnam. Second line is Gayatri Chandasama. Third line is Masana Margasirchoha. Fourth line is Ritunam Kusumakarha. In each of this, there are 8 syllables. So that is called Anushtup Chandaha. So for example, in Bhagavatam, we sometimes hear there are 18,000 verses. If you actually take the Bhagavatam and count all the verses, there are only around 14,000 verses. So the question is, how come 18,000 verses? Because if you consider in Anushtup Chanda means 32 syllables. Like that, then there are 18,000. Because some verses may have not been Anushtup Chanda. Like the first verse, that is in a different chandas only. It has much more than 32 syllables. Okay, so the number of verses, the way we count it, is only 14,000. But in Anushtup Chanda, it becomes 18,000. Okay, so that is one chanda called Anushtup Chanda. Gayatri has 6 syllables per line. So I'm not reciting the Gayatri because it's not to be recited like that casually. But it has 6, not line, 6 syllables per line. In every line of the Gayatri, it will have Gayatri Chandas. Anything composed in Gayatri Chandas will have 6 syllables. Ushnik has 7. There is Anushtup, there is Brihati, there is Pankti. There are several such Chandas in Sanskrit. And the Gayatri is considered topmost. 6 into 4, 24 letters it will have. Is considered. So here Gayatri is not the Gayatri mantra. This is a chandas that Krishna is talking about. This is Sanskrit. In that chandas, now the Gayatri mantra that we say, that is obviously in Gayatri chanda, but that's not the point being referred here. He's talking here about chandas. Among the months, he says, I am Margashirsha. Why is Margashirsha? There is a reason for this. So, of course, one reason is that the Margashirsha is the Brahma Muhurta of the Devatas. We all know there is Uttarayana and Dakshinayan, right? So the Uttarayana starts after Margashirsha month. When Margashirsha month gets over, that is the time Uttarayana starts. Okay, so the Dakshinayan's last month is Margashirsha. And Dakshinayan's last month means that is equivalent. So Dakshinayan is the night of the demigods, Devatas. And the last month in Dakshinayana is nothing but the Brahma Muhurta for the Devata, because it's the last part of the night. So because it is Brahma Muhurta, so it's connected to that. So the best part of the day is the Brahma Muhurta. And Krishna is talking about Brahma Muhurta not for you and me, he's talking about the Brahma Muhurta of the Devatas. And for them, Margashirs is the topmost month. So that is the month which is the topmost for observing vows, fasting, and so on. So Krishna is saying, I am that. Is the topmost. And Ritunam, among the seasons, like there are 6 seasons, na? Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharada, Hemanta, Shishira. Okay, and among all this, Vasanta Ritu is considered the topmost, the spring, because all the flowers start growing at that time. Correct? Because during the winter, everything is shed away, all the leaves, etc. But then later, the leaves and slowly the flowers start blossoming. So it's a very beautiful sight, and also it's not very hot like the Grishma Ritu, neither it is raining. So it's a very pleasant time. We also see in India this February, March is the very good time to travel also to different places. So the best, so he's considering is that. Dyutam Chalayatam Asmi, Tejas Vinamaham, Jayosi Vyavasayosmi, Sattvam Sattvatam Aham. Of the different deceitful practices to grab wealth and the act of gambling. Of the splendid who subdue others, but never let others subdue oneself and their splendor. And the cause of winning of the victorious, and the quality of having strong resolve, belief, effort of the resolute. Of the great souls who have big hearts like the Mahatmas, great devotees of Bhagavan, and the quality of large-heartedness. Okay, so here again some interesting commentaries there. Dyutam Chalayatam Asmi. So Chalayata means different ways to cheat people and take their money. And there are many ways to cheat people. Correct? We all know there are so many ways in which you can cheat somebody. Gambling is not the only way you can cheat. One can cheat, for example, during property division, one can cheat. One can cheat by stealing. So there are many ways in which you could cheat. Then why is Krishna saying I am Dyutam? Because he says Dyutam because Dyutam is gambling. He says Dyutam because Dyutam is the most dharmic way of cheating. You may say, how come like that? So he says two things. One is Dyutam is permitted for Kshatriyas. So at least for some group of people in society, gambling is Dyutam. Dyutam means throwing dice. You know that gambling method. It is allowed for Kshatriya. So it is dharmic. At least for one group of society. Second thing, in Dyutam, it is only with your permission that you get cheated. So it is superior to other forms of gambling, other forms of cheating. In other forms of cheating, I don't take somebody's consent before I cheat them. But when two people sit to gamble, it is with their permission only that they are getting cheated. So it is considered the least vicious among the types of cheating. And that is the reason he says, among all deceitful methods to grab wealth, I am Dyutam, playing with dice. Okay, so Dyutam actually here specifically refers to the gambling with playing dice. So I thought that's a very interesting commentary because there are many ways to cheat, and this is considered dharmic, at least for Kshatriyas, and also it is done with permission of the cheated. So it is the least destructive of all methods. So Krishna is saying, I'm that, because he's the best in the class. No? So the best in the class is this. Tejas vina vaham teja. Of all those who are splendid, who subdue others, I am their splendor. This is like we can see Arjuna himself, right? His splendor is Krishna. And the quality of winning of the victorious. So here, these are all qualities. The quality of strong resolve, and of those who have big heart is the quality of that large-heartedness. So that is how he defines the last part of this particular verse. Sattvam sattva vatamaham. Let's go ahead. 37th verse. Vrishninam vasudevosmi pandavanam dhananjeha muninam apyaham vyasa kavinam ushana kavihi. So this again will need some explanation. Among all the descendants of the Vishnu dynasty, I am the son of Vasudeva. I am the most preeminent as I possess extraordinary qualities, form, strength, valor, and display superhuman deeds. Among all the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the Munis who have clearly realized the Parabrahman, I am Vyasa. Among the Kavis, the persons who have the ability to grasp matters that defy understanding, I am Bhrigus and Shukracharya, who is said to be expert in Shastra. Right. So again, some explanation at least for some of these points here. The first one, among all the descendants of Krishna, I am Vasudeva. When he says, no, somebody may say, Vasudeva is Krishna only, na? So here can we apply that previous meaning? So if you remember, the main meaning that we employed in all these verses is what? That Krishna is the Paramatma in the heart of these people and he only controls them, he inspires them to act in certain ways. Now can we say Krishna is the Paramatma in the heart of Vasudeva? It doesn't make any sense because it's the same person. So here the understanding is that Vasudeva, among all the Vrishnis, Vasudeva, who is Krishna, he does so many wonderful activities. Correct? So many wonderful activities he does. And all those wonderful activities are subservient to Krishna. That means Krishna only is kind of doing all those wonderful activities as Vasudeva, whenever that incarnation happens. Now here another thing to be understood is that in different kalpas, there are different the son of Vasudeva is not always the Sri Krishna, right? He can be a different avatar Krishna also could be, right? This is Avatari Krishna over here, but it can be the avatar Krishna also in some places. So anyway, so what Krishna wants to say is, if all the qualities of Vasudeva are me, then what to speak of the other Vishnus? They are all subordinate to me. Among Pandavas and Arjuna, that is straightforward. Munina. Muni means what? So there is a definition of Muni. Manana Sheela Munihi. One who thinks a lot and who comes to the correct understanding is called Muni. That means one who thinks very deeply and finally comes to an understanding is said to be Muni. That is the definition of Muni. Manana Sheela Munihi. So there are many munis, but the topmost among them is Vyasa, and he says that. And among all the kavi, here please remember, kavi doesn't mean poet here. Generally, we may think kavi means someone who is a poet who writes poetry. Because if kavi would mean poet and poetry, then the topmost poet actually is said to be Valmiki, not Shukracharya. So here the understanding of kavi means Kranti Darshi. So there is a definition of kavi. Kranti Darshi means one who can see all perspectives. He is called as kavi. Okay, so kavi means to see all perspectives. That's the definition of kavi. And Shukracharya is considered the topmost among those who can see all perspectives, because it is said that he only writes the original Niti Shastra about how a king should make decision. And based on that only, Chanakya has written his own Niti Shastra, because Chanakya attributes his own ability, his own book to Shukracharya. So the understanding is that Chanakya has written his Arthashastra using Shukracharya. Just 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So Kavi, as I said, is Krantidarshi, and who can see all perspectives. And since Shukracharya can see, he is said to be. So Ramanuja quotes one verse from the Purana, very interesting verse. न कस्यचित् नोपनयते पुमान् अन्यत्र भार्गव शेष सम्पादिपातिषु बुद्धिमत्सु अवित्ससे avadhistate. Sorry. So this verse says, in one of the Puranas, it says that when Shukracharya was there, it seems he was so great in his perspective, in his understanding of giving different perspectives, that students would go to him only, it seems. So many other, all the other Gurukuls were literally empty, because everybody wanted to send their son to Shukracharya only to study, because he was such a great Kavi, expert in perspectives, in all perspectives to any problem or any particular situation, because everybody wanted to study from him. So that is one of the greatness of Shukracharya, due to which Krishna is saying over here that I am only the Paramatma in the heart of Shukracharya. Yeah. Dando Dametam Asmi Nitirasmi Jikisatam Maunam Chaivasmi Guhyana Jnanam Jnanavatamaham. I am the punishment given by those who punish the transgressors, of those who seek victory. I am the righteous policy which is instrumental to victory. Among the means of keeping something secret, I am the act of silence of great men of knowledge who are the knowers of the realities, and their knowledge about Brahman, which aids in the attainment of liberation. Yeah, so the first thing, there are many ways, there are many punishments. There are punishments are given to transgressors, and he is the punishment, he is saying. So here Ramanuja specifically says that when a king or the government punishes someone, that punishment is Krishna. We also say that always, right? That Prabhupada also says in some place that when a capital punishment is given or any punishment is given by the king, then that actually represents the power of God in that place. If it is given to the real criminal and he's punished like that, I mean, who actually did something wrong, then it is said that he is absolved of the sin over there. So he doesn't have to suffer again in the next life. If he tries to escape, then he will be punished even more. So that punishment given by the king is Krishna. So punishment again is a verb over here. It is an action. Among those who seek victory, there are many ways to seek victory. But niti means the righteous policy. Okay, so if you think about it carefully, you actually achieve victory by niti only. Like even in today's political context, we all know whether it is getting those Indian Navy soldiers, Navy ex-Navy officers from Qatar, or getting a temple built in UAE. All these are done by niti. Niti means a policy, right? A government has a policy. So that righteous policy is the topmost among different ways of getting victory. Because please try to understand, when we say obtaining victory, it is not just you go and fight and you obtain victory. That is considered inferior. So what we understand with this verse is there are many ways to obtain victory over whoever you wish to, but the right policy making is considered topmost among all the ways of achieving victory, and that right policy making or that right policy is represented by Krishna. So that's the point here. Right. And Guhyana Maunam Asmi. So Guhya means actually secret. If you directly look at it literally, among secrets and silence, it doesn't make any sense. So the understanding is among the means of keeping something secret, there are many ways to keep secret, and Maunam is the topmost because if you keep your mouth shut, then something will be secret only. So it's the topmost way of keeping something secret, and that represents Krishna. And among all types of knowledge, knowledge about Brahman is again the topmost, which is represented by Krishna. Right. So in this way, if you see all these verses, there were different things that we discussed. Right. In some places, Krishna was the Paramatma. Some places he was Kriya. Some places it's like he's Krishna himself, Krishna, Rama, etc. So basically, what Krishna has done is he has spoken about all different classes and categories in this world, whether it is action, whether it is a noun, whether it is some person or whatever. So all that he has spoken, saying that he represents the topmost in that category, right? And now we are coming to the final part of this chapter. Yachapi sarvabhutana bijam tadam arjuna natadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam charachara. Hey Arjuna, of all created entities, whichever is their seed, either perceived through direct observation or inferred, that seed is me only. Among the moving and non-moving entities, there is no such entity which can exist without having me as its antaryami or inner self. Okay, so here now we are coming to the end of this chapter. So what Krishna is now trying to summarize and saying, so you have to remember the 20th verse. The 20th verse was the place where Krishna said, Aham Atma Gudakesha, I am the super soul in everyone's heart. And from then onwards, all this discussion has happened. And now Krishna is saying that of all the created entities, whatever is their seed, that seed is me. Here, seed is the Upadan Karan. I hope you recall just some verses before. I spoke about Krishna being the Nimitta Karan. See, there is a Nimitta Karan for everything and Upadan Karan for everything. Like, for example, if a child is born, the Nimitta Karan is the father and mother, and the Upadan Karan is the seed and the various things in the body of the parents which combine to create the body of the child. So in this verse, Krishna is talking about the Upadan Karan as Krishna. Previously, he spoke about the Nimitta Karan as Krishna. Okay, so both are Krishna only. So that's the point. So among all created, whatever is that seed is the Upadan Karan. That seed is me only, he says. And among all moving and non-living entities, there is nothing that can exist without me. So this is kind of Krishna is just ensuring to say that there is nothing else which can exist in this entire universe, living or non-living, which can exist without me as Antaryami. Because please remember, the Antaryami or the Paramatma is existing not only for living things but also for non-living things. Correct? So that's it. So this is the verse over here. So with this, basically what happens is everything is covered. All the Aishwarya is covered. Correct? Till now. Now we are coming to the end. 40th verse. Nanto sthir mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa yesha tudheshata prokto vibhute vistaro maya. Hey Arjuna, conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine auspicious possessions which are subservient to me and controlled me. See, interesting translation he gives for Vibhuti. Vibhuti means opulences that are subservient and controlled by Krishna. Whatever has been described by me in the last 19 shlokas as elaboration of my divine glories and possession is just in brief taking some of the important ones among its kind. So please note that word Uddeshata. Uddesha is also a Hindi word, right? Uddesh means एक उद्देश्य से मैंने ये सब बताया. So what is the उद्देश्य? Just to give you a brief idea about what all are entities. Literally everything is his own power only. Right? It's only due to him it's happening. So now final verse. Sorry, there's 41. There's one more. 41 and 42. Aksharanam akarosmi. No, 1 second. I think that's yeah, this is actually 41. No. Yadyad vibhuti matsattvam srimad urjitam eva va tattad evavgachatvam mama teja amsha sambhava. That is the 41st verse. So whichever entity that exists, which has the capacity and means to rule over others, or which possesses splendor, or is engaged in auspicious undertaking, possessing energetic perseverance, you understand all such entities have arisen from an infinitesimal fraction of my inconceivable power to rule. Okay, it's an amazing verse. So three things Krishna is speaking here: Vibhuti, Shrimad, and Urjitam. Vibhuti means what? Capacity to rule, that attractiveness. Shri is splendor, beauty, prosperity. Urjita means auspicious undertaking, energetic perseverance. And it is because of this Urjitam only all those verbs were said earlier. So Urjitam, so we saw so many verbs right till now. So all that was covered under Urjitam. So these three things Krishna is saying. Okay, so basically indicating that all these things have arisen from a spark of my own splendor. Okay, we'll just go to the last one. Atava bahuni dena kimya dena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekam sena stito jagat. Hey Arjuna, however, what will you gain by knowing well all that I have told from different angles? There is infinite more to be known. Therefore, you can understand all my divine glories, positions in a succinct way as follows. I am situated such that with an infinitesimal fraction of my divine will, I support, pervade, and control this entire universe comprising of sentient and non-sentient things. Okay, so this is the last verse of this chapter. Actually, these last two verses, they have a very special thing because, especially the 41st verse, which I already mentioned, that anything, whenever we see any opulence in this world, which Krishna mentioned, then one needs to be reminded of Krishna in that opulence. And here, what he's saying is that whatever you will see, that is but a fraction of my splendor. Correct? That is an infinitesimal fraction. So, it's a very beautiful commentary here. Just 1 second, I have to just close. Just give me a second. I'll open that. So here the problem is when Krishna says it is a fraction of my will, somebody can ask how much fraction it is. Because fraction can be even 80% is also a fraction, right? Like for example, if I cut a mango into two parts and one is 80% part and one is 20% part, when 80% is fraction, 95% is also fraction, 99% is also fraction. So somebody may say when Krishna says that with a fraction of my will, I pervade this entire universe, someone can ask, how much fraction do you use to pervade the entire universe? Correct? It's a question. So for that, Ramanuja, what he does is he quotes a verse from Vishnu Puran. So in the Vishnu Puran, it's very interesting that the Vishnu Puran basically has many verses which support various concepts of the Gita. So in the Vishnu Puran, I'll just read that verse. I'm just trying to open that up parallelly. So there is a verse that talks about how much of fraction Krishna uses. Okay, and it turns out that Krishna uses some 1 by 10 raised to 10 fractions. I mean, that's a very minuscule part of his splendor Krishna is using. So I'll just recite that verse. Yeah, I got it. So this verse says, Yasya yuta yuta amshe Vishnu Shaktim iyam stitaha. So ayuta means 10,000 in Sanskrit. There's another verse, Kasya ayuta ayuta shata eka kala kalaka amsha amshe vishwam vichitra chitachit pratibhava vrittam. Ayuta means 10,000. Ayuta ayuta, the Vishnu Puran says. That means 2 times 10,000. So 10,000 is 10 raised to the power 4. So 2 times 10,000 is 10 raised to the power 8. And there is a shata also added, which means 10 raised to the power 2, 100. Which means 10 raised to the power 10. So basically what this verse is saying is that Vishnu uses, if suppose Vishnu's power is whatever, then 1 upon 10 raised to the power 10, which is like extremely insignificant fraction of his power. So Krishna is saying that I use only that for all these universes of sentient and non-sentient. So we could just imagine what could be his actual power. His actual power he doesn't use only. That is why in our Sanatan Dharma we don't Krishna as the creator, maintainer of this universe, that is not really considered the real glory of God, because it's considered too small for him to emphasize that too much. Oh, he has created the world, he is the Srishtikarta. Because as we see in this verse and the verse that we read from Vishnu Puran, he is using 1 upon 10 raised to the power of 10 power to do this. His real power, his real opulence is something else only. Total. So that being the case, to too much emphasize on that is not considered really so purposeful. Okay, so in this way, this entire chapter, the purpose of this chapter is to teach us that two things. One is, as we go around in the world and see anywhere where there is any splendor, understand that Krishna is acting through that person. That is first thing. And second thing is, by understanding Krishna's power and Shakti, as we saw in Yamunacharya's verse, our desire to be attracted to Krishna and serve him should increase, by which our bhakti will grow. Correct? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We have completed that chapter. If there is any question, I can take. Anybody has any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So, Prabhu, you talked about Vishnu Puran. That is one Shastra that, I think the South Indians, they study, while, I don't know, in Gaudiya, Vaishnav, I don't find it, anybody studying that Shastra. So, just wondering, what is the difference between Vishnu Puran and Srimad Bhagavatam?
Myself, I have not studied Vishnu Puran, so I can't comment. But as I was going through this commentary of Ramanuja, I noticed that for so many verses he quotes Vishnu Puran, and a very apt quotation, where what is being said in the Gita, something exactly very similar is being said there. You know, about the glory of the Supreme Lord, etc. So my brief understanding is that the pastimes of the 10th canto are very special in the Bhagavatam, but otherwise most of the other pastimes are there in the Vishnu Puran as well. But the 10th canto pastimes aren't, I have seen at least the index of Vishnu Puran, so based on that I'm saying. The 10th canto pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam, 90 chapters, and also the 11th canto, which is Uddhava Gita, that is very, very unique and special to the Bhagavatam. It is Krishna's pastimes aren't explained so elaborately in Vishnu Puran. But in terms of Tattva, Vishnu Puran has a lot of interesting content, which is why these people quote a lot from there. Because this is all Tattva related. Right? Yeah, makes sense?
Okay, so Tattva.
So, only Tattva, it obviously has so many other pastimes also. I have at
right.
least.
So, these Puranas were written, like Vyasadeva only wrote it, Vishnu Puran, Narsimha Puran, Narada Puran, so many. So, still he felt dissatisfied, and then he had to write Srimad Bhagavatam. Even when these Puranas are there.
First of all, Vishnu Puran is by Parashara. It's mainly authored by Parashara. Of course, Vyasa is a compiler, but Parashara is considered the original author of Vishnu Purana. But as I said earlier, the glories of Krishna aren't there in any Puran as much as Bhagavad Puran. You know, that is not there. That part is for sure. Which is why you will have to connect that to Vyasa's despondency and so on. In fact, Vishwanath Dev Thakur says before Vyasa met Narad Muni, he had already compiled Bhagavatam. Because 18 Puranas he had already compiled, right? And 18 Puranas contain Bhagavatam also. But the original Bhagavatam that Vyasa wrote, it is said that that Bhagavatam also did not glorify Krishna so much. But after meeting Narada, he wrote another edition of Bhagavatam, which is the Bhagavatam that we are all reading, the 18,000 verses Vala Bhagavatam. And this Bhagavatam glorifies Krishna like anything. So that is the idea. So that is the speciality of the Bhagavad Puran. But having said that, we need to understand that every scripture has its own strong points, or you understand, right? something special it will have.
Yeah. I mean, it has its place.
What happened that Vyasa wrote or Parashara originally spoke the Vishnu Puran and Vyasa compiled it. It cannot happen that it doesn't have anything of substance. No, how can it happen? All these great sages had compiled. It will have a lot of stuff. Maybe it may have not glorified Krishna as much as the Bhagavad, but that doesn't mean that you will not find some useful lessons. That's the point.
Okay, thank you, bro.
Anybody, any other question? So we end. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki,